These are certainly different, if not crazy times. We've been working from our home for what, 3 or 4 months, and things are certainly changing. Some of us have had the ability to be at work or work independently or work at home, and it's been kind of okay. So when we restart, you're going to be okay, going back to what's kind of normal. Some of us might be a little bit uncertain or fearful, not quite sure what steps to take, not quite sure what kind of world you're going to go back to. I've been there before, not necessarily with a virus, but after doing a decade and a half of scientific research, I found myself as a brand new program manager sitting in a room with the vice presidents of the corporation on one side and a very angry customer on the other side. This customer was not happy with the progress that we were making, and they were afraid that we were going to jeopardize their launch date. Well, I knew that it was my job to try and salvage that situation, but I was scared. I was uncertain. I didn't know what to do. I knew I had to pull my team together. I knew we had to deliver on time. It was kind of my responsibility, perhaps, to save the reputation of the company. It was kind of challenging times, but through that experience, I learned some things that I want to talk to you and teach you about in this Alpha to Omega challenge. And right now, I'm going to outline a few of the things for you. I'm going to start by drawing a chart that you are very familiar with. And this is probably something that looks very much like your organization chart. We've got our upper management here. We've got our programs, business development. I'm going to abbreviate like crazy. We've got our research and development, manufacturing. So we've got the organization. And these 4 steps that I want to talk to you about in 4 days kind of starts, of course, up here. The first step starts with the management. And then we're going to go down and involve more people in step 2. And then finally, we're going to increase the reach and pull in people from all over the organization for step 3. And then finally, what happens? Good old step 4 ends up back up with the management. So let me just kind of summarize briefly what happens in each one of these steps. But it is organization-wide. Step 1, what we're going to talk about is revising your strategic plan. Something that you probably wrote 8 or 9 months ago, which might not be acceptable or valid anymore. So step 1 is reassessing that strategic plan. We'll look at strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. We'll pull in things that might have changed, that might not have been included 8 or 9 months ago when you wrote the strategic plan to start. Step 2 involves a lot of your engineers and R&D people. In step 2, we're going to validate. Your employees have come from 3 or 4 months out of work, and they probably have a whole bunch of ideas. I'm not an artist, but that's a happy employee with an idea. Could be a technical idea or a non-technical idea. And we're going to work through the process of assessing, validating the validity of those ideas that your employees might come back to work with. Step 3 is really exciting because that's where we create an idea realization team. This team is a multidisciplinary team, can include almost every department within your organization. And what these people are going to do is they are going to realize what it takes and define what it takes to make some of these ideas happen. And when you make those ideas happen, what does happen is your company is going to grow. It's going to prosper. You're going to end up with communication among your departments like you've never had before. finally, step 4, we're back to you guys, and step 4 is where you're actually going to execute. See, what's happened in step 3 is your employees brought you a chart that had a whole bunch of milestones on it, and we'll talk about how to define those milestones. And they are graphed against time and cost. And so you have a chart of the plan to implement that idea, and of course we've also looked at the benefits of that idea. So step 4 is the execution. I'd really like the opportunity to spend time with you over the 4 days between the 7th of July and the 10th of July, talking in more detail about these steps. Please join me. I look forward to seeing you. Thank you.